Vinny Politan, thank you for joining us here on Closing Arguments. Another big hour straight ahead. Get ready, lock it in, folks. And I hope you're having a great Friday, but if you didn't have a good day today, I think I know someone who had a worse day. His name is Chad Daybell. He's on trial facing the death penalty, murder charges, triple murder, and some of his in-laws testifying today for the prosecution. Sister-in-law, brother-in-law, Tammy, his wife's sister, on the stand. Another big day in Boise, so let's go straight to Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft, who is live outside the Ada County Courthouse in Boise. Kelly, great to see you tonight. Got some things to get to here. Let's begin with Chad's brother-in-law. What did he have to say?
Well, hi there, Vinny. Yes, Jason Grilliam. He was on the stand today, and he talked about how close he was with the defendant in this case, Chad Daybell. And he talked about how then there was this fear that Chad was kind of talking about, or trying to get them to fear the end of times with earthquakes and other things. Then he talked about them moving to Rexburg, Idaho. So this was all before Tammy Daybell died. But then Tammy Daybell died, and soon thereafter, what happens? Well, Chad remarries. So Jason had a conversation with Chad on the phone. When he got in touch with them, at this point, he did not know for certain that he had already remarried a few weeks after Tammy Daybell had passed away. But during that conversation, Chad wanted to tell him all about his new wife. And here's what he had to say. Let's listen.
I asked him the first thing that came to my mind, which is, who is she?
What did he say?
He told me her name was Lori Ryan.
Had you ever heard that name before?
I had not.
Did he tell you in that conversation when he had married Lori Ryan?
In that conversation, he did not. He just explained who she was.
Did he describe her in any way, tell you anything about her?
He did.
What kinds of things did he tell you?
He explained that she was 5'6", 120 pounds, blonde, worked out, physically fit, hairdresser, and just an amazing individual.
Did he mention anything about her family background?
He had mentioned that her husband had died of a heart attack earlier in 2019.
Did he say anything about her children, if she had children or didn't have children?
I asked him if he had children, and he said that she had some grown children, but that was it.
So, Vinny, you hear Chad, per this witness on the stand, describing Lori that way, and then you think back to how Chad was talking to the deputy coroner in the corner about his wife, saying that he had to help her in bed, that she was clumsy, also some comments that she had gained some weight. So quite a contrast with the way he was describing his brand new wife that he married 2 weeks after Tammy Daybell's death.
This is unreal. Like you have no concept of what this looks like. All right, so let's talk about another really important witness today, Tammy's sister, Tammy Daybell's sister.
Yes, this is Samantha Grilliam, and so she was on the stand, emotional at times when on cross-examination John Pryor would ask her about Tammy, and she was very clear, sounded angry in a way, talking about how great of a mother her sister was. So I can understand why she was coming across the way that she was, because she's not happy at all about what has taken place and the impact it has had on her family. She talked about the pet cemetery at Chad Daybell's house and how she began to learn who was buried in that pet cemetery. She became emotional. Let's listen to that testimony.
You were asked about the pet cemetery and whether or not you knew every pet buried in it. Do you recall that question?
Yes, I do.
And you indicated you knew of some pets that were buried around there?
Yes.
At some point, did you learn of something or someone else that was buried in Chad's backyard?
Yes.
And what was that?
2 children.
So, Vinny, you can tell still very raw, the emotions, just such a tragic situation for her and her family.
So we're here on another Friday night, the end of another week in Boise. So what, from your perspective, was the biggest moment of this week?
Ooh, that's a great question, Vinny. And there were so many great moments that really stood out. But I have to tell you, I really enjoyed hearing from Zulema Pestenis. She was married to Alex Cox, and that's Lori Vallow's brother. And she was talking about really giving us an insight into what was taking place with their religious beliefs, the castings that she was participating in, how Lori would talk with her about things, and how Chad was the one she testified to that could discern light from dark, how Chad had portals inside his house, or a portal in which he was able to gain knowledge about who was a zombie, and also some important testimony about JJ. So little JJ, and Chad saying that little JJ was going to die early and soon. Let's listen to that testimony.
During this meeting, Chad said that JJ was going to die young, that he was probably going to die soon, and that he was going to come right back to Earth as Colby's son.
And who is Colby?
Lori's son.
So, Vinny, through Zulema, the state was really able to get Chad Daybell's name out there a lot. Chad was in charge. Chad was the one giving the information. Chad determined who was light and dark. So I think that was very helpful testimony for the state.
Kelly Craft live in Boise tonight. Have a great weekend. We'll speak again on Monday. Thanks so much, Kelly. All right, folks, so today, another big day, another insight into the world of this Doomsday couple, because Chad's brother-in-law secretly records a phone call. Let's take a listen.
They're wanting to talk to us.
What?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk to you guys. And yeah, I have people wanting to question and talk to me about you and what you got going on. And I'm like, okay, why? And so I thought I need to reach out and find out.
Speaker Lori's here, so let me just put that speaker.
Okay, sure.
So go ahead and state what is happening so she can hear.
I have people calling me from Rexburg saying, we want to bring you in for questioning and talk to you about what's been going on, and we're trying to find some kids. And what do you know about it? And I'm going, I don't know anything. What? Why? What? Okay, no, I don't know what's going on. And so
yesterday they actually went to Leah's house and tried to threaten her. We're not fully sure what they're trying to accomplish. It's mainly one detective in Rexburg.
okay.
So finally we got a hold of an attorney, and that's pretty much where it goes from here. It's just
Everything that you're turning and stuff. Okay.
yeah, just we can text you his name and
Yeah, I probably should. You know me, I don't deal with a lot of this stuff very well. I'm just like, okay, I'm a simple dude. What's going on? What do you guys want to do? What's happening? What's going on?
your route. I don't know how you would even be involved.
I have no idea. They're just trying to go through and just kind of see if I know anything about anything going on. And I'm like, no, why would I? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Well, we're trying to find two kids that along with Lori, and we just want to know if they're being, sheltered down in Utah. And I'm like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. So is there kids that are not involved, or what are they talking about? So I'll have a clue if they show up at my house.
If they show up, you can just give them the attorney's name and say, we're not talking to you without an attorney.
Okay. No.
There.
Well,
It's my sister-in-law. It's just a bunch of people that are starting trouble for no reason.
It's separate from the Tammy situation.
They're trying to combine it all together.
Well, do you want to send me that attorney's number? Do you want to text it to me, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can do that, that would be helpful, I'm sure. So,
They're just grasping at straws. I still feel Heather Daybell's behind it.
okay.
She's an evil woman, and
It's her in-law that's this officer.
Detective Hope.
Yeah, did he call?
No,
Was it-
he didn't call me. It was another individual. And so yeah, that's where I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit weird here. And so I thought I'd reach out to you to find out, you know, what's going on. And so
we pretty much blocked them. It's a simple situation, but we just can't tell you because then you'd have to be involved.
Yeah, exactly.
no, I get it. That's fine. So at that point, they're talking about bringing down like a host of like FBI people involved and stuff. You know, I don't need that. It's Christmas. So, you know, that's where I'm just going, all right, that's interesting. So, okay.
Well, you don't know anything, which is great. You don't know anything.
No, I don't know anything. And so that's good news at that point in time. So, okay.
I don't know how I would have done that other than Heather. She knows our friendship.
Oh, sure. No, of course. And so, yeah. And that's why I was like, yeah, maybe I better get a heads up about what they might have to say or what's going to happen or what they're talking about doing. And so if you've got that name on that, I'll just say, hey, look, you know what, you may just want to go talk to these people. I don't need to, you know, be involved in the whole thing. So
I'll text you the attorney's name. He's a calm, collected individual. We're happy with him, but
gotcha. So on that, it just
everybody that we know, it's just so dumb.
So on that, is this an attorney that's just, is he out where you're at? Is he local? How would I, if I needed to?
he's in Rexburg.
He's a Rexburg attorney? Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So
It's Rexburg police who are being whatever.
yeah,
It's Heather's in-law is this detective that's bugging everybody. So
Yeah. They seem to think that there's stuff that's being hidden and that they're wanting to try to get to the bottom of what's being hidden. And I'm like, if you know, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It kind of catches you off guard when you have them call you up and start chatting with you. And you're going, okay, I don't know anything about this stuff here. And so, yeah.
This is a different issue that doesn't involve any Douglases.
Okay. Well, with that being the case, that's fine. I just thought
that you're being bothered.
no, it's fine.
Being bothered.
I think they're just trying to just go down every possible route and road that they can, I suppose. And so
if they happen to bother Ron and Phyllis or anybody, just the same attorney.
okay. Well, if you give me that information, that would be helpful with regards to that. So
Text it to
Bartholic. Sean Bartholic.
Yeah, it's a weird name.
what? Sean what?
Bartholic.
Oh, Bartholic. Okay. Yeah, that is a little different.
Same name. But
yeah, that works out just fine. So
this detective is Matt and Heather's daughter's father-in-law.
Oh, okay. So there's a relation to Heather with regards to everything.
Or what? He is
we don't know if he's getting paid off or what, but he's bugging everybody we know for no reason. And he won't even call us. He doesn't call us ever to ask us any questions. He's just trying to get information from anybody else that will give him information.
Sweet. So should I tell him to call you and you'll give him the information so they'll leave me alone?
Yes.
All right. Maybe I'll do that. If they say come over, I'll say, hey, you got their number, call them. You know, and so
it's like he's circling us rather than talking
exactly.
So he's basically taking every angle possible and trying to come in and chat with you guys rather than just saying, hey, pick up the phone and call you and you'll chat with him. Nice.
I changed this number.
What?
And Garth gave him my number 3 weeks
They've
ago.
had the numbers.
Oh, no kidding. Well,
And just won't call me.
I'll just tell him, pick up the phone and call the guy. Hello. That's not that hard. You know, reach out and touch someone. So
I'll probably just start with the attorney's
I'll
number.
just say here, you know what, go talk to Mark or whatever you are at. And so anyway,
Yeah.
so
You can say that. You can say that we've been instructed by our family attorney to not speak to any police, and here's his number. You can contact him, and they can cover the whole entire family.
okay. No, that's fine. So you guys.
By our family attorney. This is his name, so here you go.
Okay. Well, no, that's fine. That's what I'll do at that point.
Just to all your family.
And then I'll just turn around and say, by the way, if you want to just pick up the phone and call him, why don't you? So
Right.
anyway, that's
what I told him.
and, oh, did he? So are the kids, what are their plans for Christmas then? Are they just going to be hunkered down? Are they back in Rexburg at home?
Emma's going to stay. Garth and Leah are going to go on a little vacation.
Going before, we were talking, I do that trip every year that I take the kids on.
Right.
That I just get away beforehand. And I actually thought about going up to the hardware ranch, and I was going to call Garth and say, hey, everybody else is married. Why don't you come go to the hardware ranch and have a square or something with us?
I think they're going to leave the 23rd. So.
Oh, okay. That would put him.
Seth's going to head out to. I think Garth's actually going down this weekend to.
I did hear he was coming down. He was going to be down. They didn't make it last weekend. I guess it snowed quite a bit, or I don't know what happened. I don't want to drive the Mlad Pass in a snowstorm either. So. Yeah.
So anyway, in terms of Tammy's autopsy or whatever, I did talk to. You probably heard from Ron and Phil as to how that went.
Yeah, I did. I didn't. Samantha did, and I haven't been home to get a chance to chat with her about it all yet. And so.
One day last Wednesday, a week ago, I haven't heard a thing.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I have not heard a thing. If Lori and I didn't hear through relatives, we would have no idea.
No, and that surprised me because someone had said, hey, go check out the cemetery. And I'm going, okay, why? I don't go to the cemetery. I'm not the former Chad Daybell, the guy that digs up. And so I go over and I'm like, where's the grass? Of course, Samantha at that point, okay, what's going on? I don't know. I don't know. So when we talked to you last week, I hadn't heard anything. And then a couple of days later, people are going, hey, there's stuff going on around here. You may want to go take a look. Okay, that'd be good to know. So anyway, yeah. What do you got planned for Christmas then? Anything good? Did I lose you? Oh, are you there?
Hello?
Oh, there you are. I say, as far as Christmas goes, what do you got planned then on that?
We're going to just stay where we're at for now.
I think it's breaking up on me. What was that?
I'm not going to Idaho.
No, you don't want to go to Idaho, so that's for sure. He's going to be hanging out doing I'm just curious to know how Mele Kalikimaka Hawaiian Christmas works out. So I guess I'm just jealous more than anything else. So anyway, did I lose you? Think I lost you. I lost you.
Chad's brother-in-law doing a really good job working undercover, getting them to speak, and no self-awareness from Chad and Lori. All right, folks, when we come back and we return, we're going to be talking about Tammy Daybell's, the coroner, what she said. We're bringing our own expert, our own forensic pathologist, Dr. Priya Banerjee. That is next.
We are underway in the trial of Doomsday prophet Chad Daybell.
Prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty against him.
Investigators have recovered human remains at Chad Daybell's residence.
There's no way, Logan. I could never come up with this.
His wife, Lori Daybell, has already been convicted.
Now, will her husband end up with the same fate?
It's just so hard to know where the truth ends.
It's the Doomsday prophet, Chad Daybell, on trial.
.com now.
What had happened?
And what did he tell you?
He said that they'd been sleeping and that she was coughing and had gotten up and gone into the bathroom and she was vomiting. And so he'd gone in there, she was vomiting. And then after she was finished, that she seemed to be okay, they went back to bed and went back to sleep.
Coughing and vomiting, that's what Chad Daybell said was happening the night that Tammy Daybell died in their bed. So that was the deputy coroner testifying today. She was on the stand. Let's listen to a little more of the observations of the deputy coroner.
When I walked in, she had this foaming that was coming out of her mouth. That was probably the very first thing that I was surprised at. It wasn't something that I hadn't really seen before. I've seen foaming little bits, but this was kind of like a foam cone that was coming out of her mouth. So I was surprised by that. This foam was something that bugged me because the way it presented. So I looked up poisoning. When I was there, I just pulled my phone up and started looking at that to see if there was something about poisoning that could cause that. I didn't find anything. I knew there was a couple of things.
Judge, this is calling for a narrative at this point, or this is a narrative at this point.
And why did you look up poisoning?
Just because it was an unusual looking amount of foam to me. And I'm curious if there was something.
Okay, I want to bring in a special guest joining us, board-certified forensic pathologist, Dr. Priya Banerjee. Doctor, great to see you. We just heard two things. One, the observations of the deputy coroner, but also what Chad Daybell told her was happening earlier in the evening. And I want to ask you, are these things consistent? And if so, what would they mean if she's coughing and vomiting and then seemingly better, goes back to bed, dies, and now the deputy coroner shows up and is talking about pink foam? Could they be consistent?
They could. I think you have to remember these are all non-specific, which means they don't point to one particular thing. And she should have followed her hunch, which is, this doesn't seem right. Why does she have a big foam cone? We do see that in drug overdoses, but she's historically not a drug user. Now, poisoning, that could be an alternate explanation. Heart attack, is there any head trauma? Or is it asphyxia? We often see lots of fluid from the nose and mouth in lots of cases, but also an asphyxia. And so, why was she vomiting? Well, is anybody else sick? Or, it doesn't all jive together.
Let's take a listen to a little more from the deputy coroner here, talking about other observations she made when she responded to the Daybell's home.
Her legs were stiff, like coming in, I could think, okay, has passed away for a while. So because the way her legs were kind of on the bed and out straight, then she was covered up. So it just caused me to feel like, yes, she's been passed away for a little bit of time.
And when you talked about her body being stiff, did that indicate anything to you?
Yes, that had been passed for at least a few hours, maybe more. I didn't know how long, but it wasn't just recently.
Okay, let's bring back in Dr. Priya Banerjee. Let's put her observations together. Let's get rid of the coughing and the vomiting and just talk about the pink foam and her body being stiff. What does that tell you? What could it mean?
So again, the pink foam, non-specific, but she has no significant medical history, right? We don't think that we know that she was active. She's not on any significant medications, and that's what an autopsy's for. Also, why was she stiff already? If he woke up and found her dead, what's the timeline? But she's stiff, that means it's been hours. And ultimately, when things are unexplained, just get the autopsy. That's what it's there for. That is the ultimate deciding factor. That's my job. That's my colleague's job. And, that ultimately is the answer. And if you did it in the first place, you wouldn't have to exhume her and then do it 2 months later. So I guess hindsight's 20/20, but I really do want to say a coroner, although very knowledgeable, they're not doctors. And I feel like she was under immense pressure from the family not to do this, right? The husband, the daughter, they're saying, don't do it. And I think being in her shoes at the moment, I can see how that can happen, but really she failed at her job by not pushing for the autopsy.
I agree. Let's see what the jury thinks of all this. Dr. Priya Banerjee, so great to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again. When we come back, we'll bring in our think tank and talk about some of the other things that were testified to today out in Boise.
He told me that she had some adopted children, foster children, and older children. And I asked him, so when Mark comes home from his mission, will you be raising kids together? Because I was trying to figure out what adopted or foster children meant. And he said, no, we will be empty nesters. So I took that to mean that there were no young children.
Was there anything specific in your discussions with Chad that he explained if he had concerns about his relationship with Tammy?
Just in the fact that I think he felt like at times it was a little vanilla. It was a little bland.
What did he mean by, what did he say about that?
Just in certain aspects of the relationship, that it was just a marriage of just, we have a lot of routine, just general routine that we go through.
That's what I've been saying from the beginning. This is about sex. This is middle-aged crazy. That's all it is. It's that simple. Wow. Wow. It's no self-awareness, by the way, from Chad Daybell telling his brother-in-law, "Hey, Tammy, things are vanilla. It's bland." Are you kidding me? Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us, Chief Public Defender for Oakland County, Michigan, and represented the Oxford High School shooter, Paulette Lofton, is with us. Also joining us, criminal defense attorney Brian Watkins and trial attorney who represented Johnny Depp, Ben Chu. Great to see everyone tonight. My goodness, Paulette, if he's describing his wife of 28 years, the mother of his children, vanilla and bland, what is Lori Daybell, a hot fudge sundae?
She is definitely the spice, I will tell you that. I don't think he could have gotten much more spicy in a hurry, for sure.
Brian, this just speaks volumes to me. This man has no self-awareness. He's speaking to his brother-in-law, who is married to Tammy's sister, and describing, this is unbelievable.
Vinny, really, is it unbelievable that a middle-aged man who's been married for a significant period of time says that his marriage is bland? I gotta disagree with you. I think there's a lot of men out there who would.
He is telling Tammy's husband, his wife's sister's husband. Like, that's a conversation that you have? That's the conversation that you have?
Locker room talk is locker room talk.
Wow.
You know, there's a male bond there, man. You know, men talk, women talk, women talk.
All right. Ben, I won't make you answer this one unless you really want to.
I would say you wouldn't say it to your brother-in-law.
No.
Not if you didn't want to get...
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to more testimony. I've got testimony here from Tammy Daybell's sister. Again, speaking and giving a voice to the victim in this case. Let's take a look.
At some point, did you learn Chad was remarried? Yes, I did. Do you recall how you learned that? My husband, Jason, told me that he had talked
Judge, I'm going to object
on the
at this
phone.
point.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
And I will strike that response.
Do you recall reaching out to Chad about a month after Tammy's passing? Yes. And did Jason also reach out to Chad? Yes. At some point, did Chad tell you his new wife's name? Lori Ryan. Did he indicate anything to you in relation to Lori Ryan having a previous spouse? Yes, he said that her previous husband had died of a heart attack. And that was why they connected. He told me that they both had lost a spouse and that was why they met up and had their marriage. And you learned about the marriage approximately a month after your sister had passed away? Correct. At some point, did you learn when Chad had actually gotten married? Yes, I did. And when was that? It was November 5th, 2 weeks after she was buried.
That's not going to play well, Paulette. 2 weeks afterwards. This again comes to my theme tonight about the self-awareness of this couple. Like, oh, everyone's going to be fine. Everyone's going to love that I got remarried, that I found Lori. This is, I don't understand what this master plan was.
No, I don't either. And you know, like we talked about before, I can't understand what the rush was. You know, it seems like things had been going the way they intended. There weren't any investigations. And then they decide that 2 weeks is enough time to let everything rest and not raise any suspicions. It's an absolutely horrible idea. And I think that just shows how ridiculous their thoughts were. They really thought that they were pulling the wool over everyone's eyes and that they were carrying out this master plan.
Let me ask you, Brian, do you think the explanation for the rush is that the end of times are coming? Is that what it's going to be? That they're preparing for the end of the times and they need to be together because they're going to lead the 144,000 in in Hawaii?
Yeah, I have to agree with you that that's probably the plan, and that's probably that's the dumbest reasoning that you could have. A more intelligent reasoning would be, I'm in grief. This just happened to me. We found each other both in grief. There's a bond that can be formed when two people are grieving, and from that bond, we fell in love at first sight. It happens, but the bottom line is he's going to have to get up there and explain that, and that's where the problem's going to lie.
Yeah, and Ben, the other problem with, grieving and finding each other is that they found the wedding outfits before anyone died.
Yeah, that really puts a problem in that theory. It is a good theory about grief, and people respond to grief differently, but buying the wedding dress in advance.
Now, Chad also apparently was talking about Tammy after her death and how all this came about. Let's take a listen to some of that testimony from Tammy's sister.
Because I was questioning him about this marriage, he asserted to me in this very, spiritual-like tone that, Samantha, I am telling you now that when I was at the cemetery, Tammy showed herself to me and said that I should move on. And I responded with, when most women say that to their husband, it's in 2 years from now, not 2 weeks after I'm dead.
Well, this is one of the advantages of being the prophet, right? Brian, you can say, well, Tammy told me to do it.
That's what he's been doing. He's been having this extraterrestrial guidance, and it's been working. It was working out for him, but now it's all crumbling down, and I don't think that you can put a timeline to say, oh, it means 2 weeks or 2 years, and the problem with him is because he has this extraterrestrial connection that he's deriving information from and acting on it. And I think he's going to have to stick with that. And the jury may say, yeah, he obviously believed it. I doubt the jury's going to say that, but that's his only hope in this case, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's also got this problem, Ben, that while he's waiting for the end of times, he's sunning himself with his bikini-clad wife in Hawaii.
Yeah, Vinny, that's a horrific look.
Yeah, it's Paulette, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. At every step along the way, this couple thought they were getting away with it. They weren't. They were oblivious to everything else, and no one is going to feel an ounce of sympathy. This is a death penalty case.
Mm-hmm. The optics of these photos that we keep seeing, or the buzz phrases, like in the previous conversation, he called himself empty nesters. These are things that jury is going to remember when they're rendering a verdict. And I don't know what he could say on that stand to convince the jury that this is a man who was grieving the loss of his wife and just so happened to meet a woman and they bonded over this. And this is only a couple of weeks after. That's going to be a real tough sell.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, but we'll see. 12 jurors, you can never predict it.